Whether you come from a family of considerable means, or whether you come from the mean streets of an inner city, by nature of the fact you attended this university, you are young people of privilege. Do not waste that. Do not reject that. Use it. Because you're smart, and yes, because you attended this institution, you are going to have opportunities in life to matter. And above all, I want for all of you to matter. That doesn't mean people have to know who you are. We live in a world that is obsessed by fame, and I've had a little bit of that. Not according to the New York Times, but I've had a little bit of it. And I can tell you that, in the long run, is not what matters. It's being a force in your community. It's being a great teacher or coach. It's ministering to patients or to a congregation. It's being a great parent. It's having a positive effect on others. And it's standing for something. These past 4 years have been a critical juncture in your life, for it's unlikely ever again that you'll have 4 years to think. Not just to learn, not just to research, but to think. And I hope you've spent time thinking about, what do I want to be? Not in terms of a career, but as a human being. It is old-fashioned, but I will tell you there are real ethical imperatives in this life. Compassion, honesty, fairness, trustworthiness, a respect for others. My favorite frontispiece to a book came in one written by a giant in my profession, and it said simply, I'd know. That's who'd know. In other words, if you don't possess those basic qualities, no one will know it better than you do yourself. And if you don't admire yourself as a person, frankly, in the long run, you won't matter. We live in an age when oil company executives build rigs knowing they can't plug their underwater wells if a catastrophe occurs. We live in a time when home run hitters suddenly bulk up and wonder why we question their prowess. Where coal companies look at fines for safety violations as costs of doing business. Where executives of giant companies cook the books, virtually destroy their companies, and then take huge year-end bonuses. And this is an age still where cigarette companies continue to sell a product that they know kills people. As you leave here, you need to know what you stand for, because out there the choices are not going to be easy. You will find times when you'll be asked to choose between expediency and your values, between what you know is right and responsible and what your company or firm or network or whomever you work for may need at the moment to get a leg up on the competition. A wise producer in my business once told me when I was asked to put something in an on-air piece that I knew was simply self-serving to my company. He said, know what your quitting issues are, but most important, have quitting issues, because if you don't, you're not worth a damn. So I ask you to be involved, and that includes caring about my profession. Know the difference between what is important news and what is not. And just to be clear, what is going on with Tiger Woods or Britney Spears or LeBron James is not. Oh, it's interesting, and I'm dying to know what LeBron is going to do just like you do. But read the front page first. Watch the evening news, don't watch the entertainment news. ABC or CNN or Politico or nytimes.com is a heck of a lot more important than TMZ or Gawker, or even, dare I say, Facebook or Twitter. And please, when you come to the news, look for objectivity. It is less and less in fashion these days, and it's not easy to achieve. But don't just listen to media voices that reflect your point of view. Open yourself to the views of others, and hold the media accountable. When an announcer says it's a report that you have to see, you probably don't. When an anchor says shocking details, they probably aren't. And when a network says it's fair and balanced, it probably isn't. You've got some basic issues to face in this country. We and my generation are not facing them, and you're going to have to. We're going to need to make basic sacrifices in this country, and no one in our society today seems willing to sacrifice. What can we realistically afford as a country, and more importantly, not afford? How do we change the way we deliver health care to affect savings? And what are we going to do if that means rationing? What are we as a people in terms of our immigration policy? How do we encourage growth in business and industry and not cook our planet any further? And how do we protect against terrorism without sacrificing our ideals? We don't seem to be willing to face those questions head on, and my generation, your generation, is going to have to. So as I look at you out there, several things occur to me. First of all, that you're so young. You have so much time to make your choices and to tell your stories. It's 45 years since I graduated Shirley, but she wasn't a math major. The second thing that occurs to me is the diversity that is so manifest in your faces. That was not true when I graduated 45 years ago, but it makes Princeton so much a better place. The other thing that occurs to me as I look out at you is you got screwed if you're sitting in the sun. It's a heck of a lot nicer if there's a breeze. The other thing that occurs to me, and it occurred to me as I was watching the chorus yesterday sing at Baccalaureate, there is so much talent among you. Each of you have individual talents. That chorus was beautiful to listen to. Each of you have your individual gifts, and I hope you have a great time developing them in future years. And the other thing when I look at you is I transpose the faces of my class onto you as we sat in front of Nassau Hall 45 years ago. And I was so happy to be there. There was a feeling in my heart that I didn't know how to express. I was a terrible student. And I never heard the feelings that I felt expressed until Bill Cosby a few years ago said, when he sat at graduation at Temple. He said, I was sitting there among the summa cum laudes, the magna cum laudes, the cum laudes, and I'm sitting there just thinking, thank God, Lottie, that I'm here. We didn't have email in those days, but I was checking the bulletin board right up till that morning to check that I was going to get my diploma. The last thing I expected 45 years ago, sitting on the lawn in front of Nassau Hall, was that I would be ever up in front addressing a senior class at Princeton. One other thing, I know you've all been solicited to give to Princeton, and a magnificent percentage of you have done so, close to 90%. You will be solicited again in your life to give to Princeton. Do it. Do it throughout your lifetime. It's important. I mentioned you all by nature of having attended this institution are young people of privilege. This institution has given you a giant leg up on life, and all of you graduate without debt because past generations of Princetonians have afforded you that privilege. They and we care about you. And you now owe it to future generations who will come here to make sure that they have the opportunity for an education just as extraordinary, maybe even more so, as you have enjoyed. You have the firm foundation of a good education. As of tomorrow, you will be graduates of Princeton University, and that means a lot. 45 years ago, I'm embarrassed to admit, I didn't come to my class day. I couldn't stand the thought that these 4 years were ending, and I didn't want my association with Princeton to end. I'll let you in on a secret. It doesn't have to. You have an open invitation for a lifelong love affair with your college. I have had one, and I hope you will too. And I thank you for asking me to come here to speak, and I thank all of those who turned you down so that I might.
During your time.